years have passed since Ubisoft released Assassin's Creed. That's 2 years since gamers have fallen in love with the series, but also 2 years since they've grown tired of the game's issues, which ranged from repetitive missions to a lack of content. Now, with 2 more years of knowledge and 2 more years of development time, they've released Assassin's Creed 2, hoping to fix the issues and bring gamers back into the Animus. And oh, what a difference 2 years can make.
Death shall be your reward. I grow tired of this game. Finitelo!
While the location has shifted, the overall narrative is still the same: an organization of assassins fighting against the shadowy Knights Templar. This time around, players take on the role of Ezio Auditore, fast-forwarding a few hundred years to the Italian Renaissance. After his family is killed by the Templar, he seeks the people responsible and vows to take them down no matter how long it takes, which sends him on a long journey across Italy. Ezio's story is much different than Altair's. Whereas Altair was calm and collected, Ezio is emotional, driven more by revenge and curiosity than a sense of duty, all the while unraveling conspiracies in true Assassin's Creed style. While the name of the game is still Assassination, Ubisoft has been able to make it play much better than before. Going through the story is less monotonous than it was last time, and manages to do so while being longer than the original. This is all thanks to mission variety, which helps keep things fresh throughout. While telling an engrossing tale, it does a good job at intertwining itself with real-world historical events, and beyond Ezio befriending Leonardo da Vinci, there will be times where most players will scramble to Wikipedia to check information, attempting to see exactly how faithful Ubisoft was at recreating the Renaissance. The answer, by the way, is very. The only real problem with the narrative is that it can sometimes become lost in itself. The many fast-forwards that take place during the 10 years the story spans can be dizzying, leaving the player wondering what has happened and why Ezio has a goatee. Beyond that, the game does a wonderful job at introducing and wrapping up a story set in historic times, while slowly moving forward the modern-day narrative. On that note, it's impossible to go too far into what happens with Desmond Miles in the game without tripping over some spoilers, but if you were one of the many who were upset with his sections in the original, you should be happy to know that it's no longer an issue. While still not as involved as he should be, he does more than slowly strut around a small room, which is a huge step in the right direction.
Climbing a bit of scaffolding is all well and good, but let's see how you do out in the open.
Top of that tower then?
Just about every issue from the first game has not only been addressed, but almost entirely eliminated. Controls and free running have been tightened up a bit, and the assassin has a fair amount of new abilities to choose from. Being able to blend into any crowd, for instance, not only makes more sense than the wandering monks of Assassin's Creed, but makes for much more entertaining and strategic gameplay. On top of that, Ezio is able to assassinate from more positions and disarm enemies to use their weapons, making skirmishes flow better, all the while keeping the same counter-based combat of the original. The repetitive mission structure has been done away with entirely, replaced with a more linear storyline and a wealth of new side missions. The different jobs that prefaced assassinations in the prequel are optional and plentiful, removing one of the largest complaints of the original while giving Ezio plenty to do besides taking down Templar. There's even a side quest in which Ezio can put money into a village to build up its worth, seeing a return over time as the village grows into a bustling town, and earning discounts in all the shops. It's almost too tempting to become lost in the world, picking up side quests and collecting objects scattered around the environment instead of actually working towards completing the story. Luckily, it's fun enough that that's not really a bad thing. The greatest triumph of Assassin's Creed 2 is tying all of the new and old elements together well, something many developers too often miss when adding new features. A monetary system makes completing jobs more fulfilling, being able to spend it on upgraded equipment makes it more meaningful, and it's possible to hire different factions to help distract or combat town guards. All of this might seem unconnected, but they share common functions, making completing missions easier and the core game better.
Hey, Florido Porco! You insult my sister, parading around with this puttana.
What are you talking about?
You broke her heart.
Ha! And now I'm going to break your face.
Assassin's Creed 2's recreation of historical cities is paramount. While not every brick of 1400s Venice and Florence are represented, the major landmarks are, and the locations feel as close as could be expected. The soundtrack and voice acting are as high quality as anticipated, with a witty script that does a fine job of capturing the mood of 15th century Italy. Visually, it looks pretty much the same as the first game. Just as before, there are strikingly beautiful vistas and wonderful graphics that look a bit muddy if you get too close. Either way, the high production values expected of the series is continued in every way, taking advantage of the power of the current generation in breathtaking ways. Assassin's Creed 2 isn't just a step forward for the series, it's a leap. The improvements are immediately obvious, and it isn't a stretch to say that Assassin's Creed 2 feels more like a game 2 or 3 sequels away instead of just one. When it's all over, it's one of the best gaming experiences of 2009, and while there's still plenty of room between it and perfection, the gap has been lessened quite a bit. Thanks for watching, and be sure to check out the full text review on Gamervision.com.